Hi guys, in my blog last week we spoke about supersets, which is just a pair of exercises placed together with no rest in between. The way that you place them together can have a big effect on the impact of the training, so I wanted to talk about some of those today. We're going to start with a variation where you go from a compound movement, which is a movement where you have multiple muscle groups working. An example of this is the press up, where you have the chest muscles working to push the arms forward, but also the triceps to straighten the elbow and muscles of the shoulder as well. And you pair that with an exercise that will target the same major muscle group, in this case the chest muscles, but in a more isolated fashion, which in this example is going to be a fly. And you can see on this one that compared to the press up, there's much less movement going on at the elbow, there's less bending and straightening there, and the shoulder is probably still going to be involved a bit, but the major muscle group being focused on is the chest. So this can give you a nice overload effect on the main muscle group you're focusing on, because on the first exercise you get the support of the other muscles, and then once you reach your limit there, you focus to a much more isolated exercise where everything is focused on the muscle that you are targeting. Alternatively, you can superset exercises with regards to the synergist muscle group, and these are muscle groups that provide a supporting role in another exercise. For example, here we have another compound movement, and that is one that involves multiple muscle groups and joints being used. We have the upper back muscles pulling the shoulder blades back together and bringing the elbows to the sides of the body, but we also have the biceps working to bend the elbow, and again there will probably be some shoulder muscles working as well. So we have this compound exercise, and we said that biceps are a part of it, so we're going to superset that with a synergist muscle group, which is the biceps, which have that supporting role in the row, but here we work them solely on their own in an isolated fashion. And this can be very time effective. It means you're getting two exercises for different focuses done at the same time, and again it can also add some overload to the biceps. And the last one we're going to focus on for today is opposing muscle group supersets, and this is where you superset exercises of two different movements or muscle groups, where we start with a pushing exercise for those push-ups again, and as we said, this is going to focus on our chest muscles, our triceps, and some of the frontal areas of the shoulder. And what we're going to pair that with is the opposite of that, so a pulling movement, which is going to work the back and the biceps and part of the shoulder. And this type of superset is preferable for people who aren't necessarily looking for as much muscular overload, so maybe their goals aren't focused around muscle growth, but instead just provides more of a metabolic challenge, in the sense that we're working from one muscle group to another very rapidly, and the body has to manage that and recover that. So hopefully that provides a little bit of insight into how you might design a home workout, especially while you don't have access to as much external resistance or as many variations. So just to summarize, we have our first one, which was our compound movements onto our isolated movements, focusing on the same muscle group. That's going to be great for stimulating muscle growth, especially as you get a large group of muscles working and then you focus in on one in a very isolated fashion. Then we have our synergist supersets, which work in a very similar fashion, except for the fact that the major focus of the first exercise is not in the second exercise, and instead we're doubling up on the work done for our synergist muscle group, which might be a smaller muscle group that just needs a little bit of extra focus. And this is often useful for muscle groups like our biceps, triceps and shoulders that are active in a lot of our compound exercises, but could just do with a bit more overload outside of that. So we still get the best bang for our buck of using our bigger movements, but we then get some isolation work on our smaller muscle groups as well. And lastly, we have our opposing supersets, and these are great for getting lots of different movements or muscle groups addressed in one workout session without leading to as much local fatigue in one particular muscle group. For example, our pushing movement followed by our pulling movement, and this is hopefully going to raise the heart rate that bit more and just get more work spread out across our workout, because we're not pairing together two exercises that are going to lead to extra fatigue for each other. And this would be much more common in something like a circuit class, where the main aim is to burn calories rather than to really beat down on one muscle group. Hope that was useful, guys. I'll see you again soon.